I'm a video editor who went from editing like this to this in just 6 months and went from making nothing to $1,000 every single month. And my friend, today I'm gonna show you how you can do it too. I know what you're saying. How? So the strategy here is to edit your videos so good that people want to watch your videos till the end and top creator wants to work with you. So let's start with what is editing. Maybe we don't have to go that far back. Let's start with understanding viewer experience. Look at this video. How to edit like pro. How do you feel when content is of low quality or the video is too long? That's what we mean by viewer experience. It's how a person feels when watching your video. We want to make sure viewer enjoy what they're watching, so we try to understand what makes them happy or unhappy. Now let's try to understand with a real example. Look at this video, how many focal point it has. 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one is here. Notice how our eyes are jumping all over the place trying to keep up with everything on the screen. This is the example of bad viewer experience. And if you look at this video, notice how it zooms in and darkens everything else in order to highlight main element. And this is the example of good viewer experience. Now that we understood what makes a good or bad viewer experience, let's talk about maximizing visual attention. Now look at these images. What catches your attention? A bright red dress among the sea of dull glow. That's what we mean by visual attention. It's what catches your eye and makes you focus on something. In this case, it was a red color dress. Using bunch of quick cuts like switching from wide angle to close up that shows facial emotion grabs our attention. As a content creator or editor, you want to keep that attention for as long as possible. For example, look at Mr. Beast intro. The clip changes quickly, which really holds our attention. Now, if you look at my intro in the beginning and compare it to this, which one do you think will maximize visual attention? Obviously, first one. Maximizing visual attention is a strategy to hold your attention so that you don't click off the video, and creators like Mr. Beast uses it all the time to keep your attention throughout the video. Now look at this video. What catches your attention? When something is moving, it traps your attention, whether it is mouse or a text or a PNG. Therefore, it is the example of maximizing visual attention. As a video editor, switching between different type of footage like A-roll, B-roll, motion graphic or stock footage and changing what's on screen frequently will help maximizing visual attention. Now if you notice carefully, we talked about visual experience before maximizing visual attention, and that is because anything that comes on screen should not decrease viewer experience. For instance, look at this guy. He just appeared out of nowhere. It breaks the flow and takes you out of story. Everything you show in the video should fit together. When you add visuals like B-roll or graphic, they need to match the style of your video, making sure that all part of your video look and feel consistent. Okay, the video is not over yet. Let's check out the software, which is basically these three. We'll choose one to start editing. Alright, so the first step in any editing process is importing your footage. Think of it like collecting brick for construction. Make sure to organize them into folders you can easily find when you need. Once your footage is in, it's time to start building your video. This is where you create a sequence, which is basically timeline of your video. Now that we have our sequence, it's time to start cutting. Drag your footage into timeline, play through your clips, use a razor tool or cut tool to trim out any unnecessary part. To make your edit even smoother, we are going to use J-cut and L-cut. A J-cut is when the audio from the next clip starts before the video does, creating a smooth transition, and L-cut is the opposite. The video cuts to the next scene, but the audio from the previous clip continues to play. To do this, simply unlink the audio and video track, then adjust the start and end point. These techniques will help you to make your videos flow naturally. Now that we have imported footage, created a sequence, and removed unnecessary parts using J-cut and L-cut, we'll add a B-roll, which is basically extra footage that supports the main story. There are a ton of different type of B-rolls, for example stock footage, which is just a lazy version. You can use it to provide context and show emotion to a main story. For example, in this video I'm talking about Mr. Beast, so I'll use a Mr. Beast B-roll video to complement the main story. Now let's connect two clips. We'll use a transition for this. A transition helps your video flow seamlessly. There are a ton of different type of transitions like cuts, fade in, fade out, crossfade, dissolve, wipe, slide. This maintain visual continuity. Now the most exciting part, motion graphic, and one of the common ways to create motion graphic is through keyframe animation. For example, let's say you want to create a simple animation of text box moving from left to right across the screen. You set a keyframe at the start with the text box on the left and another keyframe at the end with the text box on the right, and then easy ease using F9. The software will then smoothly animate the text box moving across the screen. Motion graphic had a ton of uses. For example, look at this video. I've crafted a raw information in the form of beautiful graph, and this is the power of motion graphic. And this one where it shows how to invest your money, how wonderful it looks. So don't be afraid to experiment with motion graphic. With little practice you can get started. Alright, So let's talk about sound effect and music. They're like the secret sauce to your video. You can totally transform a boring, dull moments into something epic. Imagine this, you're watching a video and someone does something really funny. Boom, that's what a good sound effect can do. It emphasizes the joke and makes it even funnier. Or maybe you're telling a dramatic story. You can build a tension and anticipation with a little bit of spooky music. There are different types of sound effect you can use. For example, hits, risers, or atmospheres. And don't forget about music. Alright, music can add so much emotion to your video, so experiment with different tracks and find something that fits your vibe. So next time you are editing, think about how you can use sound effect and music to elevate your content. Trust me, your viewers will thank you. Just when you start feeling like a pro editor, there's one more which will turn your videos from this to this. Color grading is basically adjusting color in your video. You can make things brighter, darker, more saturated, less saturated. There are a bunch of techniques you can use. One popular method is using LUTs. LUTs are basically preset color looks that you can apply onto your video. There are several good LUTs for free on internet. I will link few good LUTs in the description box.